Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, May 12th. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Oh, my God. This pandemic quarantine is driving me crazy. I don't even remember the days anymore. It is not Monday. Yesterday was Monday. So today is Tuesday. And you got to really think about it. What's today? Monday, Tuesday. You're doing the same thing every day. I go from my bedroom down here to my living room. Then I go back to my bedroom. I maybe walk outside for air for 30 minutes. I walk literally nowhere. I go walk around a few blocks around my neighborhood. I have actually traveled nowhere just to get some exercise, and I'm back. And then I do a show. And this is my day every day. It's like literally, Bill Murray, Groundhog's Day. So sometimes I forget, what is today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't even know anymore. But yes, Jill is telling me it is Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. We are well into more than 5, 6, maybe 7 weeks of pandemic quarantine. But in the meantime, I hope at least we will open up soon and we will be able to get back. We will never get back to normalcy until there is a vaccine. Dr. Fauci actually testified today about vaccines. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But first, I got to say hello to everybody who loves Bradshaw Live, who loves Brad and Yo-Yo and Nesquik, even when they're not here, and the entire crew. And of course, we love everybody as well. Javelle Finnegan saying, "Squad up, how are you?" And by the way, on my Instagram, over the weekend, I was lying in bed. I gave a quiz, and one of the questions on my quiz on the Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein is, what does squad up mean? And I have to say, over 85% of the people got squad up right. It's a beautiful way and loving way to say hello to people who you respect and like. So they got 85% of this quiz. Of the people who took the quiz on my Instagram got it right. 15%, when they're saying squad up, they don't know what the hell they're saying. So please let everybody know what squad up means. Dion Watson, squad up. How are you? Sasha Ford, how are you? Christy Consali, hello. Seku Bellitti saying yes, like I just scored a basket. Deanna Moore, squad up. Katie and Plunkett, how are you? Violet Blackwood, what's going on? Allie Blue Beecher saying hello, Brad Squad. Juliet Hilaire saying, hey, welcome, Brad. I can't even get the first comment. Juliet, you were right in there. I want you to know your comment is 2 minutes after we got on the air. I mean, you were right there, Juliet. You were right there. Linda Shaw, how are you? Squad up. Carol Anderson, the Tiger. Dion Watson, I said, Wendy Cadu, what's going on? Denisha Joseph, how are you? Marcia McCullough. Why am I calling you Marcella? I know your name is Marcia. I just mispronounced it. Marcia McCullough, squad up. And I don't see Nesquik and Yo-Yo in the comments, but hopefully they're here somewhere. Monica Laws, how are you? Denisha Joseph, how are you? Squad up. Dion Murdoch and Faye Latta saying, hi, Brad. Squad up. And let's see what's going on our friends on YouTube, our Brad Squad on YouTube. Let's see what's going on over here. And Carol Anderson, the Tiger, 2 Anderson, she is double fisting. She has one device in one hand and another device in another hand, and that's what we call double fisting. She's watching both on YouTube and Facebook. Tia Persaud saying, hey, Uncle Brad. Alicia Henry, squad up. Tally David Wright. Simone Garraway saying hello. Shen Fell, hey, Brad, with a clap and a heart. Thank you very much. And by the way, she follows it up with a second comment, facts. I agree. We need to follow with a third comment, hashtag facts. Carlene, with a pre-comment of the day on YouTube. Welcome back, Brad. Thanks for the wonderful work you're doing. You're an inspiration too, and I am praying for more blessings and strength for you. All right, I like that. Princess Martin Uniqueness, squad up. 29 Super C. What's going on? 29 Super C down in Trini. Rick Frass saying more love. and Arlene Charlton, excuse me. Squad up. Tracy Lacey, I'm just relaxing, listening to my favorite show, Heart, Tally Tally. How about you? Princess Martin Uniqueness, she is fine. She is doing fine and wants to make sure Super C knows it. And Sexy Shan Meyer saying, squad up, everybody. And before I get into the schmooze, everybody, I do have to remind everybody that on Facebook and on YouTube, one of the things we really are pressing people to do right now, if you have not subscribed, you are not part of Brad Squad. If you are not a member of the Brad Squad on Facebook, you are not a member of the Brad Squad. You want to be a member of the Brad Squad. Why do you want to be a member of the Brad Squad, you may ask? Well, first of all, you meet the coolest people in town, and not only in this town, but around the world. And number two, you are showing your support not only for Bradshaw Live, but you are also supporting all the people who are watching this show who need help. And you're also supporting people who just need the camaraderie of Bradshaw Live and Brad Squad. You're supporting each other. You're being a member of a group that really is very extraordinarily inclusive and really fun. I mean, really cool people, funny people, smart people. I mean, it's a really cool group to be a member of. So please, if you want to be part of the Brad Squad, one of the things you got to do is subscribe on YouTube. Now, sometimes I say this every day. People say, well, I don't want to subscribe on YouTube. I don't want anyone to know my problems. Trust me. Nobody, there's 16,000, 17,000 people almost close to on YouTube, over 115,000 people who follow us and like us on Facebook. Nobody's scrolling through 115,000 people looking for your name. The government's not doing it either. And just because they find your name there doesn't necessarily mean you have an immigration issue. You're an immigrant. A majority of the people, I believe, although I never took a quiz on it, but I believe a majority of the people who watch the show are in fact U.S. citizens or legal residents of the United States of America. So don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Subscribe on YouTube. And on Facebook, do not be shy and be a member of Brad Squad. But before you become a member of Brad Squad, you got to make a comment here. You got to like and follow us on Facebook. And then you got to put in a membership to Brad Squad on Facebook. People say, how do you become a member of Brad Squad? Well, you got to follow and like us. You got to subscribe on YouTube. And then you got to request membership in Brad Squad on Facebook. And right now, I used to be the gatekeeper. And then it was Jenny from the Cubicle was the gatekeeper. But now we have really, really put in a very, 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 very difficult gatekeeper to the Brad Squad. It is now Jilly Bean. You must pass muster with Jilly Bean. She has taken over the keys to the kingdom of allowing membership into Brad Squad. So if you want to be a member of the Brad Squad, please make sure you really do a lot of sucking up to Jilly Bean. In the meantime, we got to get into some schmoozing and see what's going on in the world in something we like to call schmoozing with Brad. Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. That's what it says on my virtual Bradshaw Live card. If anybody ever sees the real show, when we're in the studio, I have my Bradshaw Live cards. And I have a Bradshaw Live mug, but they're all in the studio right now. So all I have right now with me is a Fiji bottle of water. And my virtual cards, I don't get any real cards. I love having the real cards in my hand because as anyone who watches the show all the time knows, I'm a fidgeter. I always move my hands around. I'm playing with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. So I'm just going like this and talking a lot now. But I have the virtual cards in front of me because that's what we can do right now in the pandemic quarantine edition. And every day during this pandemic quarantine edition, we start off with the day's statistics. According to Johns Hopkins University, that's what Bradshaw Live follows, the statistics. There's other statistics out there, but we follow Johns Hopkins University. There are now over 4.2 million coronavirus cases worldwide confirmed. Close to 290,000 people have died. more than 1.48 million people have recovered. Those are confirmed cases. As we say every day, those numbers are substantially more because there's lots of people who died who never got tested. There's lots of people who recovered from coronavirus who never got tested. In the United States, confirmed 1.35 million people have been diagnosed with corona. Almost 81,000 Americans have died. More than 232,000 have fully recovered, meaning that they went to a hospital and came out. Meanwhile, according to undisclosed data, the White House Pandemic Task Force is using to track the rates of infection around the United States of America. This data was obtained by NBC News. It was never released to the public. The coronavirus infection rates are actually spiking to new highs in several metropolitan areas and smaller communities around the United States of America. And the Trump administration is holding that information from the public because they want the public to reopen. They want governments to reopen. They're withholding that information. It has not been released publicly yet. The data is from May 7th Corona Task Force report, and it has contradicted Donald Trump's declaration even yesterday that all throughout the country, the numbers are coming down rapidly. Now, according to this report, the top 10 areas in the United States recorded surges of 72% or greater in the last 7 days of coronavirus compared to the previous week. They include Nashville, Tennessee, Des Moines, Iowa, Amarillo, Texas, and Central City, Kentucky. I'm not sure where Central City, Kentucky is, but I know where Kentucky is. On a separate list of locations to watch, which have not met the precise criteria for the spike, but those numbers of coronaviruses are getting greater, include Charlotte, North Carolina, Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, and Lincoln, Nebraska, Minneapolis, Montgomery, Columbus, Ohio, and Phoenix, Arizona. Now, the spiking infection rates suggest that the pandemic is spreading quickly outside the major coastal population centers that were early hotspots, while governors of some of these states that are home to the new hotspots, these are places that the governors are following Trump's advice to reopen, not relaxing, stay at home, go to the tattoo parlor, go get your hair cut, open up restaurants. So of course we're going to see spikes there. And trust me, I've never seen government data, but let me explain to you how all of this ends up working. You know, as I said to you yesterday, there are two wars. There is a war for the health of America, and there is a war on the economy. And those are two separate wars we're fighting. And in each of those wars, there are going to be casualties. Nobody gets out scot-free. In the health war, the casualties are actual death or long-term medical impairment of people who survive coronavirus but don't necessarily recover fully. We don't know what the outcomes of people who recover from coronavirus in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years down the road, what's going to be. And the war on the economy, that's the war for your jobs, the war for companies, the war for entrepreneurship, the war to pay your bills. People will not be able to pay their bills. People will lose their jobs. Companies are going to go under. And those are casualties from a war. And those are two wars we're fighting, and we need to be able to win both. And let me tell you how the government works, because I know how the government works, not because I was ever in the government, but I'm a lawyer. And one of the things that lawyers do when they go to court, especially I can even bring Moshe the bulldozer in to discuss this more. Maybe I should, I'm thinking about it, is there are values that the law puts on a human life, whether the value is long-term medical care because you're injured, whether the value is you died and what is your loss of value to society in terms of your earning potential. When somebody sues a company for a product liability, this product, I'm drinking this, nobody's suing Fiji water, but I'm drinking this Fiji water. And you know what? When I opened the bottle cap, it popped in my eye and blinded me. And had Fiji Water made a better bottle cap, it wouldn't have blinded me. I'm making this story up. So how do lawyers determine, how does the law determine whether Fiji Water bottle is liable for taking my eye out? Well, if the cost of making a safer water bottle was less than the cost of my injury or perhaps my death, then they are liable. If the cost of making a Fiji water bottle is more expensive than my death, now my eye hurts me and I'm making this up about Fiji water, then they are not liable, meaning it's a cost basis analysis. This is how products liability works. If it costs the company less to save a life, then the company is liable. They have to put in that safety precaution. If it costs the company more than the value of a life, and the value of a life is the cost of medical care and the lost value of that worker, then and it costs more, then they are not liable. It's how products liability works. I don't know for certain, but I am certain that at least these calculations go through every government head government minister or president or cabinet maker, not only in the United States, but around the world. What is the value of the person we lost in the nursing home? What is the value of the worker we lost in the meat packing? Does it cost more for society to give health care and to give hospitalization to this person? And does it cost more to society if we lose this worker and we lose this potential employment of this worker for the next 20 or 30 years? Or does it cost more to society for everybody to just stay home and do nothing? It's a cost basis analysis. We put costs on lives. And I think to some certain extent in this war, I kind of make it kind of like an analogy to a products liability case. The coronavirus is a product liability. It's coming into America. It's ruining everything. It's screwing up everything. It's hurting us. What is the cost of staying home? What is the value of the life? What is the value of the lost worker who may die? What is the value of an elderly person in an old age home? They don't have a lot of value other than the love other than that they're a true life, but as an economic value, what is their value? They don't have a value other than the love that is missed between family members of an elderly person who passes away. Those are cold statistics that governments making every day in determining at what point we open and at what point we are willing to accept loss of life and death and injury and health risks versus staying home and not making any money. So meanwhile, Wuhan, where this whole thing started in Wuhan, China, we don't know really if it started in a lab. And, it's three possibilities. We know it started in Wuhan for sure. Did it start in a lab and it was man-made? Was it from a bat in a lab and somebody negligently released it or purposely released it from that lab? Or was it from a bat in a market and just there was some bat to human contact and it passed through this wet market? I don't know. Anything is possible. I don't know the answer to that. But meanwhile, Wuhan was supposed to be back in good shape. They were reporting no coronavirus for weeks. But now there have been cases that have reemerged in Wuhan. And what they're going to do for the first time anywhere in the world is China is going to test 11 million people in Wuhan, China, in the next 10 days. It's amazing when you think about what they are going to do when the United States has not even been able to test 11 million people since the day this started. But the government of China is going to be testing 11 million people in Wuhan City, China, in the next 10 days because of 6 coronavirus cases. And they do it by doing this nucleic acid test, and it works by detecting the virus's genetic code. And they say that is more effective than it's more effective at detecting early stages of the virus. So on Sunday, the city did confirm they were going to be doing this, and they are going to quarantine anybody who's sick. They're going to literally stamp it out. Now, a high-profile infectious disease researcher, this is not very good news for coronavirus, or it's trying to survive it, but he has warned that in the early stages of attacking the world, which makes it difficult to relax stay-at-home orders without putting Americans at risk. Dr. Michael Osterholm, director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, he said that the initial wave of outbreaks in cities such as New York City, where 1 in 5 have been infected, represent a fraction of the illness and death yet to come. He believes that 60 to 70% of the population need to get coronavirus and then become immune to coronavirus before it would be safe, and they would call that herd immunity, before it is safe to literally go out on the streets. Until then, we are just biding our time, according to this infectious disease researcher, until 2/3 of the population in America, two out of 3 people in America, get coronavirus, and either they die or they live. But until that time, it's going to keep sweeping around. We're going to be dealing with this. And it may come in waves. It may come in big waves, small waves. We don't know. If there's any good news, Dr. Fauci, he testified before the Senate Health, Education, and Labor Pensions Committee hearing today. And he testified that he believes that the United States, the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Disease, the NIH, is on course to complete a vaccine by late fall or early winter of this year. So what he's testifying to is that there will be a vaccine available to the public before the end of the year. That's late fall, early winter. I hope that's the case. I don't know. He also testified about the difference between, because if there's a vaccine, then that's a game changer. He also testified about the difference between what's going on in South Korea and the United States. While America tests more of its population now, South Korea was testing its population of 40 times the US rate during March. And it's all about testing, finding people who are sick, and keeping them away from other people who are healthy. In the meantime, he said that when they originally modeled this and they thought there was going to be 60, 70,000 deaths by August, they were assuming that we were all going to be quarantined and people were not going to be going out and socializing in the world. And it's not happening in many parts of the United States. And even here in New York, if people live in New York, you've seen the news, how crowded Central Park is on the weekends, and Riverside Park, and all the parks in Brooklyn. And so now there's over 80,000 U.S. deaths in the U.S., and they're now projecting close to 200,000 deaths by August. Something interesting is happening, non-coronavirus today, believe it or not. There was a Supreme Court began oral arguments on 3 separate cases that have the potential of landmark consequences for President Trump and the power that he wields over the United States. The court is expected to make a decision by late summer and before the election. The court was holding teleconferenced hearings, so it means anybody was able to watch. And all 3 cases revolve around Donald Trump's long-running legal fight to shield his income tax returns from the public and keep his private financial records from the hands of the Democrats and the New York District Attorney Cyrus R. Vance. Trump is arguing that subpoenas to banks and accounting firms for years of financial records, because he has tax returns with his accountants and with investment banks, and they were subpoenaed by Congress. And Trump wrote these banks and says, I'm the president, you can't send it to them. And he got sued. And also Trump is being sued by Cyrus R. Vance, who's looking into the companies that Trump runs and where this money came from that Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels and the other women that Trump slept with to keep them quiet and not say anything during the presidential election. Ultimately, Michael Cohen went down for paying these women off. It was illegal. But the reality was he paid them off at the direction of Donald Trump. And where did this money ultimately come from? Nobody ever found out. Trump is literally, in my opinion, the one who should be in jail. Michael Cohen is serving Donald Trump's jail sentence right now. So Cyrus R. Vance is looking into that. And Trump says, it's none of your business. I don't have to give you my tax returns. He's actually the first president in the history of the United States of America not to voluntarily give up his tax returns. Why doesn't he want to do it? Is he not as rich as we think he is? Is he cheating on his tax returns? Is there other fraud? But there's something in those tax returns that he's taking this case all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, the last time the courts ruled on this, Clinton was asked to provide documentation he didn't want to do, his personal documentation. And Richard Nixon also, in a Supreme Court decision, didn't want to turn over the private tapes in the Watergate. He said, these are my private tapes. I'm not going to give them over. In both instances, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the people requesting the documentation from the president and ruled against the president. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in here. If they follow precedent, we should be seeing Donald Trump's tax returns and see what shenanigans he's pulling there by fall of this year. Meanwhile, what's not in the news, but I read it like in small print somewhere sometimes, is, there's still about 200 cruise ships sailing around, just sitting in the ocean with crews on them. Crews, people working on the boat. They don't know where to go with these cruise ships because they can't just abandon the boat in the middle of the sea. Countries don't want these workers to get off in their port because they think that everybody on the cruise ship has coronavirus. There's cruise ships all over where people are just literally abandoned on these cruise ships, and they're just sitting there bobbing up and down in the water somewhere in the Atlantic or Pacific or Indian Oceans. Well, a group of 14 crew members of the Navigator of the Seas cruise ship currently docked in Port Miami. So this boat was actually able to come to port, but they're not allowing any of the crew off. They've grown so desperate to go home. These are workers who came to the United States on C1, D1 visas. You hear people ask those questions all the time. I came on a C1, D1 to join a boat. Well, these are people who came on C1, D1s to join a boat. They've grown so desperate to go home that they are now staging a food strike, which has been going on now for more than 72 hours. The crew are mostly Romanian citizens. They've been at sea now for 2 months. They have not been let off of the boat. One desperate crew member even called 911 on Sunday to plead for help arranging repatriation. However, they're not being allowed off the boat. At this moment, we feel we're hostages, said one crew member who asked not to be named for fear of retaliation. The companies need to understand we are not boxes of food that could be moved around the world. I don't know if you saw this or not, but as part of coronavirus issues, there's a lot of people, they're immigrants, minority workers, working class people working in the slaughterhouses, which basically where we get our beef in the United States of America. And so many workers are now getting ill in these slaughterhouses that many suppliers have temporarily closed their factories. And now there is going to be a meat shortage. In fact, Wendy's restaurant has announced that 1 out of every 5 Wendy's hamburger restaurant will not be serving hamburgers. You remember this lady from her commercial from like 25 years ago? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? When I was a kid, I don't know if anybody's as old as I am, there was a Wendy's commercial with this old lady yelling at the phone, where's the beef? Well, guess what? We need her back now. Where's the beef? They don't have it. They don't have it. Wendy's is more exposed to the shortage. It's sparked by the coronavirus pandemic because of its reliance on fresh beef compared to its competitors. That's at least Wendy's position. Now, Wendy's has said some of its menu items might be temporarily limited at some restaurants. They're actually announcing it is going to be 1 in 5 restaurants where you can't go to Wendy's and get a hamburger. You can certainly get French fries at Wendy's. They're not out of potatoes. As a matter of fact, we have a glut of worldwide potatoes. We have such a glut of worldwide potatoes that in Belgium, they're being called upon to eat potatoes at least twice a week. More than 750,000 tons of potatoes are at risk of being thrown out in Europe and around the world because there's too many potatoes and they're not being shipped anywhere. So now Belgium's government, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Belgium's government, they are mandating that people on lockdown as of March 18th, they are mandating that they eat French fries in Belgium at least twice a week to get rid of the 750,000 tons of potatoes that are at risk of being thrown away. The issue is largely down to a fall in demand in the frozen potato sector, which accounts for about 75% of potato processing. So we have one situation where there's no beef, and we got a whole other situation where we got too many potatoes. And finally, we have a new round of emojis that are getting popular that nobody ever really used before as a result of the pandemic. So at a time of social distancing, in-person conversations, they're harder to come by. Many people are finding themselves texting, emailing, using social media more than ever before. In light of all this, a study has shown that the folded hands has become the #1 most popular emoji to express feelings about the pandemic and the crisis that we are going through. It's very funny. People have told me that this folded hands is 2 different things. I have been told that the folding hands is basically a high five. I always thought it was a prayer or a thank you, like thank you very much, like you're bowing, thank you, or a prayer. But other people use it as a high five, like, yeah, way to go, way to go. I don't know, but I use it as the prayer. The emoji was used 25% more often in April than in August of last year, the last time that particular character was analyzed. The spike made it the 8th most popular emoji for the month. It has come out of nowhere. It's in the top 10 now. And nearly 1 in 5 tweets now include an emoji, actually, up from 1 in 6 tweets during the same time last year. Other icons that have made a big improvement, people are using all the time now, take a guess. The medical mask, the virus microbe, and the bar of soap, all making a huge comeback. Unfortunately, people have forgotten to use the airplane emoji and the baseball emoji. They have fallen out of the top 10. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the schmooze for the day. We're going to get to our immigration questions now. This is the time when I'm going to ask you to share this with your friends and family. If you're watching on YouTube, the way you share it is 2 ways. Number 1, there is a gray thumb right underneath my chin where you're watching right now. Maybe it's on this side. There's a gray thumb. And you either take your mouse or your finger and you press that gray thumb blue. And what you tell people by pressing that gray thumb blue on YouTube is that you love this show and other people should watch it as well. What you can also do on YouTube is you can share this with your friends. How do you share it? Right next to that gray thumb is a share button, and you can share this to a Twitter feed. You can share this to your Facebook feed. You can share it to Reddit or Tumblr. You can create your own post, or you can make a copy of this link and put it in your WhatsApp, in your status, or just send it to people as a messenger in WhatsApp saying, hey, Brad's going to answer immigration questions now. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't want to pound this to the ground, but I'll pound it to the ground. Please make sure you subscribe and make sure that you get a ding every time we come live. You'll never miss our show again. If you subscribe, you will always know when our show is coming on live. And on Facebook, you are not off the hook, Facebook people. You know what you need to do. On Facebook, they have something called a watch party. So on a watch party, you are the captain of the watch party. You get to run your own show. So please start a watch party. Tell everybody, hey, sit back and relax and watch this guy answer some immigration questions. Not only will you have fun, not only will you be entertained by the squad, but maybe you will learn something as well. And of course, if you do have immigration questions, please make sure you leave those questions in our comment section. I will be answering them now, first on Facebook, then on YouTube, then maybe back to Facebook, and then finally back to YouTube. So I'm going to go back and forth 4 times. But on the offhand that I skip your question, or I don't see it, or I miss it, you can always follow me at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. If you follow me at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram, you can drop me a DM, and I will be happy to answer your questions in my DM. You could also follow us at Brad Show Live. If you follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram, you can find our post that gives a free immigration consultation giveaway. Our giveaway will be tomorrow on our show. I will pull out one lucky person out of my scruffy old hat who will get a free consultation with me. We do this every week on a Wednesday. And how do you get your name in Uncle Brad's scruffy old hat? You got to like the post on at Brad Show Live on Instagram. You got to tag 5 friends and follow us. That simple. And finally, for those who are interested in actually talking to me one-on-one, I sit here every day right before my show, right here in my dining room while we're on pandemic quarantine lockdown. And I call 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 50 people in a day. And I call them, and we have one-on-one private, personal, confidential consultations. And the way to call me and get on my list that I can call you, because you got to call me, and then we write you on my list, and then I call you. It's 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, the number is +1-212-227-8933. So let's see how we're doing on Facebook, and let's get into something we like to call, I'll try to answer your question if you got one, in social media pandemic quarantine check. All right, so as I'm going through here, Sasha Ford with the pre-comment of the day. Shame on you, Sasha Ford. Shame, shame, shame. Absent for a week now. We're watching, Sasha. Glad you're back, though. Happy to have you back. I'm only kidding with you, Sasha. Let's see what our first question is. And our first question is from Linda Shaw. Squad up, my daughter, Nurse DaCosta, and all those at Mount St. John Hospital and all the nurses in the world for their service. That was not a question. I thought it was, but squad up, Nurse DaCosta, and everyone at St. John's Hospital, and squad up to all our first responders. Thank you for putting your life on the line, and thank you for all of your hard work in helping others and saving people's lives. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see if we can get to our first question here. It's from Kyla Sedona Tain. Hi, Brad. What about somebody What about that, somebody? With misrepresentative for fraud and I-130, would the virus make it better for the spouse to get through? Yes and no. Yes and no. Because to get a hardship waiver, you have to show an unusual and exceptional hardship. And I can see an argument that could be made that coronavirus is not an exceptional and unusual hardship because coronavirus affects everybody equally. I haven't given thought to the coronavirus angle to the hardship yet, but yeah, I would say that coronavirus as a general proposition affects everybody equally. So it would not be an unusual and exceptional hardship to you, even though simply because it affects everybody the same. Now, perhaps individually, you have a specific issue as relates to coronavirus that may make you more susceptible. Maybe you're diabetic. Maybe you have hypertension. Those are the people who are more prone to actually die from coronavirus, especially if you're living in the United States with that additional medical problem that would make you more prone to die, and then you were forced to go live in another country with your husband because he wouldn't be able to come here, where presumably the medical care is not as good. Maybe there's an argument certainly to be made there. And then certainly not even that if you have it, but you're concerned you're going to have it. And then there's psychological and emotional issues that go with that as well. And that's just off the top of my head. I haven't really given thought to coronavirus issues when it comes to hardship, but thank you for the question. Monica Laws. I have a friend who got married to a U.S. veteran who is on Medicaid and food stamps. Can he file for her? He can, but since he is on Medicaid and food stamps, that is 2 strikes against him. He is going to need to get a very good affidavit of support from a second person, and he's also going to have to show that his spouse is able to support herself without going on any sort of medical or government assistance. Anita Nelson. Hello, Uncle Brad. Thank you for answering my question yesterday. I'm now doing a follow-up. How do we know if we passed the interview or not? Please, after our Stokes interview, it's now been 4 months now. When do you think we will hear from the officer? Thank you. The answer is when you pass the interview, when they send you an approval letter and you have a green card. Until then, you don't know. You just have no idea. So if it's more than 4 months, the longer it takes, and I don't want to scare you, but the longer it takes to hear, the more likely it is that to get a denial than an approval. It's much easier to send an approval because it's a form letter. A denial, they actually have to sit down and type and list the reasons why you're denied. So, generally speaking, not to scare you, the longer it takes, the more likely it is that you're going to get a denial over an approval, unfortunately. Nicole Hernandez. I filed my I-751 and N-400, and I got notification from USCIS that the cases are being reviewed and was transferred. Great. My husband has been abusive verbally and mentally, and I've threatened my status lots of times. Not so great. He has since threatened to go to the interview if called and make a scene. Is it too late to file a VAWA? It's not too late to file a VAWA, but what you can do is you can get a divorce from him, and you can change the case to a waiver case and withdraw the N-400 because it's not worth becoming a citizen. Complete your I-751 and then refile your citizenship on the 5-year anniversary of you having your green card. That's how I would handle it, and I'd get this guy the hell out of your life. Ali Bubicha. Brad, my husband is adjusting my son's status. I select the box that says principal applicant. My husband is adjusting my son's status. Do I select the box that says I'm the principal applicant or derivative applicant? No, he's a principal applicant because he's doing a separate I-130 for your son. Because he's doing a separate I-130 for your son, your son would be the principal applicant. Your son, just so you know, for your edification, Your son would be a derivative applicant if he's included on your I-130 and you're just filing a separate adjustment. Let's see. What else we got here? Kima St. Clair. Hi, Brad. Do I get any benefits like work permit in 4 to 6 months as a VAWA petitioner if spouse is a green card holder? If you file an adjustment application, you can, if your priority date is current. If you don't file an adjustment, you are not getting a work permit for a long time. Novalette Johnson. Hi, Brad. You answered my question about my daughter. If I file February 2016 and her priority date is February 25th, 2016, so when will she join me here? Thank you. Continue to do a great job. Well, they're up to 2014 right now. So hopefully in about 2 more years, assuming that she is unmarried and over 21 and you're a permanent resident. That's what I'm assuming. See what else we got here. Sasha Ford. She's actually just promoting her own company. Dawn Harriet. Brad, so many homes are going on the market now because so many elderly folks have gone. Yeah, I know. It's very, very sad. Erica Cardi. My husband and I had our interview on April 8th, but it was canceled due to COVID. He has already received his work permit on April 26th. We separated and he doesn't seem to want to work things out. What happens now with the process of his immigration papers? Well, if he doesn't want to work things out and you're separated, he's not getting his green card. So, assuming you're the U.S. citizen and he's the one getting the green card, he's the one who's caused his own problems by not wanting to work things out. Toda. Maybe it's tada. Tada! Flowers in my hand. I'm not a magician. Maybe he's a magician. Hi, Brad. My spouse and I are waiting for a decision after the interview for 120 days today. Do you think the reason is our age gap, 10 years? And do you think mandamus is a good idea? We should be patient. 1, you should be patient. 2, I don't think 10 years is a major age gap. There's lots and lots of people in the world who date somebody 10, 12, 14, 15, get married to them years younger than them. So I don't think it's the age gap that is a problem. If you're a 40 or 50-year age gap, yeah, different story. But 10 is no. Virtues Land. Hey, Uncle Brad, what documents did I need to send and submit to USCIS to renew my work permit and my advanced parole? Just need to submit an I-765 for the work permit, the I-131 for the advanced parole, and proof that you have a pending adjustment, which would be the I-45 receipt notice or a copy of it. Laverne Parker with a question. I have a question. My kids, they did get their date for interview, but the embassy closed the week before they should go. They had all their documents prepared already. Is there going to be a problem with those documents concerning the dates? If the documents are more than 6 months old, yes. If the documents are less than 6 months old, no. Let's see when they get their interview. Rosalind Marson Davis has a question. Hi, Brad. Will the National Visa Center continue to process a child filing for a parent or will it halt until the ban is over? No, they're going to continue it. They just won't schedule for interviews, and the ban is 30 days in already. Sasha Keynes. Hi, Brad. Good day. Do you think the virus would help for the economy, hardship, for waiver for fraud? I already answered that question. Nap. Hello, Brad. Can we ask a cancellation removal if we have received a letter of deportation? If you've been ordered deported, you can't get cancellation removal. If you got a notice to appear for deportation and you qualify for cancellation removal, you absolutely can. The qualifications for cancellation removal differ depending on whether you're a resident or a non-resident, and we can talk about that. But if you have a specific question, you can ask it more in the comments. I'm happy to answer it. And Linda Shaw with a pre-comment of the day. Come on down. The price is right to get a consultation with Spa and Bernstein. Uncle Brad, work with a dedicated team. If you would like to talk to Uncle Brad, nope, you can. Now you can. Call these numbers, Spa and Bernstein. It's one-stop shop, 1-800-529-5465. Thank you very much, Linda Shaw. Sunshine Girl Campbell, do you have to file taxes with your husband to receive your citizenship within the 3 years of marriage? The answer is yes. Diana Moore, when I called, they told me the office is not open and I have to call when the office. Brad, I want to have a one-on-one consultation with you. Diana Moore, our office is open 9 to 6. After that, every day, Monday through Friday on Eastern Standard Time. After the hours of 9 to 6, we have an answering service. Now, if you want to schedule a consultation with me, call now. We will answer your phone call now, and you can get on my list for tomorrow. Let's see. Another pre-comment of the day. Marge Higgs. Somebody told me about a t-shirt that reads, behind every nurse is a hard-working CNN. This is so true. That is very, very true. Thank you, Marge. Brahim Okafor. Hi. Removing conditions on my green card, and I will be filing for citizenship later. Will advance premium tax healthcare affect me? No, it will not. Jay Mehta. Hi, Brad. I had my EB2 interview in February, but no reply yet. What can I do? I called USCIS customer service, spoke with an officer. They said to contact Ombudsman. Is it right to contact them, or should I give them some time for reply? No, you can absolutely contact an Ombudsman. You never know. An Ombudsman is there to help you. It's something you can certainly reach out and try. It certainly won't hurt you. At this point, as I said, it won't hurt you. You're not going to do a mandamus yet, not at this moment, but hopefully maybe in the future if you don't get through. But yeah, contact an ombudsman. It doesn't hurt. Jackie J. Zenden. My wife is a U.S. citizen. She filed for my son, and we already paid for the visa and affidavit. Is the suspension going to affect him? He's only 8. No, it will not, because it was a U.S. citizen filing for a child. All right, let's go over to YouTube and let's see what we got on YouTube. Tally with a pre-comment of the day. Welcome everyone on YouTube. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And of course, I'm going to add into that, give us a thumb up, turn that gray thumb blue. Geronimo also with a pre-comment of the day. The only woman Trump did not sleep with probably is my mother, because she is dead. Okay, boy. He's gotten around Donald Trump. Sydney Bursick. 29 Super C. Hashtag Brad Bernstein daily updates on all things. Now, by the way, Sydney Bursick, for those who don't know, is pizza. Busha TV with a question. Hey, Brad, on the farm I-485, have you ever violated the terms or conditions of your non-immigrant status? I put no, but I overstayed my visa. So what do I say at the interview? Say, as soon as you sit down, I screwed up the form. I need to change it before I sit down and say something under oath that's not true. I did violate the terms of my non-immigrant status. I overstayed my time. So you can fix it at the time of the interview before you sit down. Laser Home Spa. When renewing your EAD combo card, how many passport size photos do you need to send with the application form? I-131 asks for 2. I-765 asks for 2. Do you send 4 or 2? Well, I-131 asks for 2. I-765 asks for 2. That equals 4. 4. Kiki, my wife is Section 8, but my affidavit support earns more than enough to assist me. Can she still petition for me? She can. But Section 8 is government assistance. It is a double negative against you. You will need 2 positives to overcome that. So you need to talk to us. Tia Prasad, Uncle Brad Q, stands for question. How long to get the combo card and social security number in the mail after you receive the approval notices of the EAD and app in the mail? It's usually 7 to 14 days behind, so it should be there shortly. Leslie Benoit, a friend of mine has an asylum case administratively closed. Can he still be eligible for a work permit? He's currently married to a U.S. citizen. Can he adjust his status without withdrawing the asylum? If it's administratively closed because he's in removal, he's got to do it before the immigration judge. He can't just randomly file the adjustment. So what he would need to do is file the I-130, get the I-130 approved, then go back and make a motion to recalendar the administratively closed removal case, get that reopened, and ask a judge for permission to adjust. So you won't be getting a work permit anytime soon, but eventually you will. Layla Smith, I'm an LPR. I just applied for advanced premium tax credit through Obamacare. I sponsor my child under 21 case at NVC. Is it going to be a public charge? Should I cancel it? No, Obamacare is fine. Grace Ann Mailer. Hi, Brad. I'm over 21. My mom filed for me a few years now. What category do I look at on the visa bulletin? Final action dates for family-sponsored preference cases or dates for filing family-sponsored visa? The final action means that you will be going to the U.S. Embassy for your visa appointment. The other one, which is family-sponsored preference cases for filing family-sponsored visa, those are the ones where they say, okay, we're going to ready to process your case with the National Visa Center, or if you're in the United States, you're eligible to adjust, although not eligible for the green card yet. You got to wait for that final date to come in. So you're watching both. Rich Moore. Hi, Brad. I will file my I-751 next month, but I just realized that my wife, 2018 and 19 W-2 still shows single, but IRS paperwork we filed has been married, filing jointly. Would status on our W-2 be a problem? It shouldn't be as long as you filed a joint tax return. Stephanie Hillman. What happens with administrative processing? My husband has been placed there since December. That means they're delaying your husband. There's nothing you can do at this moment now because the embassies are closed. After they're reopened, let's see what we can do to help you. Layla Smith, I'm an LPR. I just applied for advanced premium tax credit. I answered that. Len Celeste, hi, Uncle Brad. This me again. I figured it's you again, Lens. Can someone get his green card after receive Social Security and work permit and you get divorced before you have the green card interview? No, you can't. You got to be with your spouse all the way through the interview to get your green card. Silent Wind. Hi, Brad. You answered my question yesterday about denials for I-45 and I-601 and my wife's adjustment of status. And you said to come in, but you are closed. So can I send you the both decisions? No, come in. When I say come in, call my office, get on my list, send the decision by email. I'll call you back. 1-800-529-5465. Severajan Rethnas Bapati. Dear Brad, it's been 8 months since I filed my I-130 for my spouse overseas. She's 5 months pregnant. Is it possible to expedite the case due to pregnancy? No, it is not, unfortunately. By the way, if she gives birth to your child, you have to get your child a U.S. passport and prove you're a U.S. citizen, and also prove that you are living in the United States for 5 years in legal status after the age of 14. Just keep that in mind. Rupan Talakdor. Hi, Brad. You didn't answer my question. If I see it, I answer it. And instead of saying I didn't answer it, ask it again. Mesret Membaret. Hello, Brad. I'm using food stamps and I have a 6-month-old baby. We're a U.S. citizen. Did it affect my NVC? My husband's, please help me. If you're using it for your baby, it does not affect you. If you're using it for yourself, it does. You don't use it, but okay for baby. I see you. That's the person's name. I see you. Hi, sir. My friend in USA, citizen, can he bring his wife on a visitor's visa and then apply for a green card? No, that would be a misrepresentation if you bring your wife on a visitor's visa for purposes of getting a green card. If you've been watching my show for any period of time, you would know the answer to that very well. I think you need a consultation. Now, Rupan has asked his question. Hi, I heard the White House is planning to 60 days ban to be extended. Please, can you tell us what is the future of the 60-day ban? I'm a green card holder. My spouse is waiting for the interview from the NVC. Excuse me 1 second. I'll be right back. Excuse me. All right. Magic 8 Ball. Rupan. He wants to know what's in Donald Trump's mind. Will Donald Trump be extending the ban? Will the judge put an injunction on it? Will he be able to file for his wife? The answer to the third one, I don't need the magic 8 ball. Your wife will eventually get here. I promise you that. The ban will not last forever. But will it be extended? The magic 8 ball says doubtful. I go by what the magic 8 ball says. The magic 8 ball says doubtful. It says it's doubtful. I go magic 8 ball. It's doubtful that the ban will be extended. Magic 8 ball is generally right. It usually is. Kenny B. Hi, Brad. If a baby overstayed her B-1-2 visa by a year, if that child leaves, could she come back knowing she's a minor? No. Once you overstay on your visa, you violated it, whether minor or no minor. Let's go back to Facebook quickly for last couple of questions. Sashay Kens. Brad, we received the receipt notice from last October. You know how long they will respond and what's the next steps you think to be approved since he got misrepresentation for fraud? I don't know what case you're referring to, Sashay Kens, but certainly you need to get an I-130 approved. I don't know if you're doing an adjustment year back home and then you do 601 waiver. You're probably going to need some help at some point, but I'm not sure what exactly is going on with the case. Stargirl Mika, Brad, if you file VAWA before leaving, divorcing the abuser, will you need to notify USCIS once you do leave the U.S. citizen? No, you don't have to notify USCIS that you left the citizen, but you may want to notify USCIS that you moved and changed the addresses. Kanika Shwam MC. Hey, Brad, what options does a J-1 visa holder and her family have if they want to stay in the U.S.? So I don't know. You would have to call me, 1-800-529-5465. You're basically asking me, how do you get a green card? Charmaine Miller. Hi, Brad. What happens to your fees if this visa suspension continues over the date the payments are made for an immigrant visa? Well, you're talking about my legal fees. We have a flat fee. So when you agree to do your case with us, we agree to do it on a flat fee, whether it takes us 2 hours, 10 hours, 100 hours, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it takes, we do it. So my fees are my fees, and you agree and you pay it. We're here. We finish the case. Young Money Rogers. Uncle Brad, my EAD card got lost in the mail, already filed again, but the post office gave me a letter to show that they lost my EAD card. So how long going to take them to send another one? Months, unfortunately. Thank you, post office. Bosetti Abio Olendinibo. What happens if a man filed taxes as a single because at the time he filed, the wife did not have a social security number? How do they handle this at the interview? You handle it before the interview. You go back and you make an amendment to your tax returns and amend your taxes and file them jointly. Shrikant Desai, is it a good idea to take my wife's 2-year baby, do an adjustment interview to prove our bond? I don't know what a baby, unless it's your baby, I don't know how that proves your bond. And if it's your baby and her baby, then you bring a birth certificate. Sashay Kens, the pre-comment of the day. Brad, I believe in you. I believe that you will help us. You are the best. I know you will help us on the 601 waiver. Love you, Brad. I hope I can. Thank you. I hope I can. And finally, the last question of the day, folks. The last question of the day from Patricia Lusant. My father filed an I-130 for an unmarried child over the 21. I got married. We did not tell USCIS. My father then became a citizen. Department of State wrote us to tell us I can enter through Cuban Haitian program. So my dad paid for my wife and children to enter under the program. Now USCIS denied the adjustment. Should I appeal? If you got married and you didn't know the government, and the government didn't tell you, then you committed a fraud. Whether or not you're eligible for a fraud waiver, we would need to speak with you. So give us a call at 1-800-529-5465. But you're not going to appeal because they rightfully denied you for the fraud. So if you need to reach me, it's 1-800-529-5465. That's 212-227-8933. You can call right now to get on my list, and I can call you tomorrow, 1-800-529-5465, internationally, +1 212-227-8933. In addition, I do have to remind everybody to please subscribe, and also to please subscribe on YouTube, and please also subscribe on and like and follow us on Facebook. And I do have to pull up one thing quickly here. And Lee, you're going to have to let me in on the StreamYard so I can see the comments of the day, because my other thing died on me. So there we go. All right, so we're ready for comments of the day. What are they? Andrea Wilson, squat up, Uncle Brad. We're all going through the same syndrome of forgetting what day it is. That is very, very true. And what else we got? Ismo Nastro. Hi, Mr. Brad. I've been following you for a year. Thanks. You're doing a great job. I really love you live. Thank you very much. And T-Mac, my favorite shows on live. I call it regular stay at home tonic. Way to go. All right. And with that, please, everybody, please be safe. Tomorrow's hump day. So make sure you tell everybody to tune in. Oh, we have one more. Simone Dotto. Good evening, folks. Mr. Brad is around to answer all your immigration questions and give us hope, the super immigration lawyer of America. More grease to your elbow, Mr. Brad. All right, I think that's it, right? Yes. Now, tomorrow is going to be hump day. I hope to remember it's hump day, and I hope to be here tomorrow. I certainly will be. I hope you're here tomorrow as well. I hope you have subscribed on Facebook. You're following us and liking us on Facebook. You're subscribing on YouTube. You are following us on Instagram, on Bradshaw Live, and at Real Brad Bernstein. Thank you all for watching. See you tomorrow.